We're going to switch from Paris to Washington, D.C. There's a downer. Joining us, though, Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor, and Katie Pavlich, editor at townhall.com and Fox News contributor. All right, kids, we're not Paris. Wherever you are, Washington, Virginia, it's just as good. It's good to have both of you. I want to begin with a wonderful topic. Here's what Vice President Kamala Harris said yesterday. Take a listen to this.
Let us also understand that every vice president understands that when they take the oath, that they must be very clear about the responsibility they may have to take over the job of being president. I am no different.
All right. Katie Pavlich, she's ready to take over the Oval Office. What do you think?
Well, I mean, this is the role of the vice president, should the president not be able to carry out his or her duties. But politically, I mean, Democratic voters weren't even ready for Kamala Harris to be the president during the 2020 election. And currently, her approval rating among Democrats is very low. And none of them are talking about her as a replacement in a primary, if there were to be one, against President Joe Biden. And so she's in this position now where she gets to coast and hopefully make it to the presidency because Joe Biden is incapable of doing so. But the American people and Democrats in her own party aren't so keen on her being in that position. And other people who are looking at this, like Gavin Newsom, for example, governor of California, aren't going to let her walk away with that without some kind of fight.
Charlie Hurt, wasn't Kamala Harris originally the border czar? Do I remember that she was the one who's going to end the illegal migration? What happened to that role? Didn't see
and what's funny about that is even before that, she was going to be the next Democrat nominee. All of the experts in Washington assured us when she announced back in 2020 that she would be, or 2019, that she would be the next nominee. And of course, by 2020, time 2020 rolled around, her campaign had fizzled out, and she had not managed to get one single vote or one single delegate. And so then, so they put her in charge of the border. The border is such a catastrophe. This is, and in a lot of ways, Joe Biden has actually been unifying the country in these kind of sneaky ways, not the ways he intended. But one of them is everybody hates gas prices. That's like a universal thing now. Everybody hates inflation. That's another universal. But the other thing is he has turned the entire Democrat Party against illegal immigration. When you listen to Democrats in like New York now talk about illegal immigration, they sound like the craziest right-wing Republican from 10 or 15 years ago, talking about the scourge of illegal immigration, how it's going to destroy New York City. So it's easy to make fun of Kamala Harris. Every time she talks, she sounds like she's drunk. I don't know what she's talking about, and she's trying to explain things that don't need to be explained. But you have to give it to her. You have to give it to both of them. They've managed to unify the country in ways they never intended to.
Well, they're all liberals mugged by reality. I mean, that's what they really are.
For actions.
But Katie, one of your columns, the climate change is killing more people than communism did. This sort of goes to what Charlie was saying. People, I think, are united around gasoline prices and inflation. But actually, these climate policies, we talked about it earlier with Dunleavy, Mike Dunleavy, the governor of Alaska, and how insane Biden, he's ruling out drilling in Alaska and so forth. It's absolute insanity. But the fact of the matter is it's hurting people. I mean, it's not just that there's no emergency, right? Your point is, you end things like fertilizers, for example, and you're stopping food. And people can't live with food. People in the undeveloped countries can't live with food. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good column. Underrated column. I'm giving it some spotlight, Katie Pavlich.
Thank you, Larry. As always, appreciate that. No, it's true. Humanity runs on oil and gas. And these climate change agenda lunatics, like John Kerry, for example, who was at a climate change conference earlier this summer in May. When is he not at a climate change conference? But at this specific conference, he said that in order to get to net zero, which is an absurd standard for not just a country, but for the entire world, we have to take a hard look at agriculture. And agriculture has to be part of the solution. Well, you're playing with fire when you start playing with people's food sources. And we saw this play out in Sri Lanka in 2021 when the president there decided to give in to this climate change agenda and banned non-organic farming and fertilizer. And within 1 year, that country had a food crisis that they still are not recovered from as a result of this agenda. And the scariest part is that these people don't care. They don't care that the slave labor is building their solar panels and digging, cobalt out of the ground in places like Africa.
Right.
That's just a human cost to their agenda. So we'll be careful.
You're right. No, you're both right. I mean, this whole show is about insanity in the Biden administration. My head is swirling around, and the humidity is making it worse. Charlie Hurt and Katie Pavlich, we appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Larry.
All right.